When you imagine Spain, you probably imagine eternal sunshine, Mediterranean warmth going into your bones, and that winter here is just a cooler version of summer. But the thing that nobody tells you is that the coldest part of winter might just be the inside of your house. It's one of those culture shock Spain moments, those moments that remind you that you are, in fact, an American living in Spain. This isn't one of those Spain versus the USA or even an American in Europe complaint video. I'm just sharing what my life is like as an American living in Europe, in Spain, in Asturias. It's my life in Spain reality. I actually have a kind of crazy idea that I want your feedback on, and that'll be at the end of this video. Spain is different depending on where you live. The Mediterranean coast, it's mild. The far south and the Canaries can almost feel like spring. The interior is very dry and cold. And the north, here where I am, is very cool and very wet. And winter feels different from Madrid to Malaga to Murcia. Housing in Spain is quite different from what I'm used to, in my opinion. It's actually one of the biggest influences on the cost of living in Spain. Houses here tend to be built to keep the home cooler during warm weather, and much of it's built with this really thick masonry but with minimal insulation. And you have the cold tile and the stone surfaces along with the humidity that can make the indoor air feel almost cold enough to sink into your bones. And that's even when it's mild outside. This is Santa Maria del Naranco, and this is on Naranco Mountain in Oviedo. It was commissioned by King Ramiro I of Asturias, and it was supposed to be a main audience hall of his whole palace complex. It was completed in the middle 800s, and it was consecrated as a church in the 12th century, and then that's when it was dedicated to St. Mary. I imagine there were a lot of tapestries in this space that helped keep it insulated, especially considering how big the windows were. And when we renovated our house, we had to, because the dampness just kept coming in, the kitchen would actually flood during heavy rains. So we took that opportunity to install radiant heating, and then we insulated the walls, and we replaced all of the electrical wiring. With all the changes we made, it could definitely impact our power bill. People have actually balked at what we typically pay on our monthly electricity bill in Spain. Folks from the States think, wow, this is so cheap. And then people from Spain think, wow, you pay a lot. And that's really a conversation for a different video. It's a whole video in itself. Actually, I'll talk about that in my next video. So subscribe if you'd like to know why my power bill is so much higher than it should be. Given the more reasonable cost of living in Spain relative to income, it was very tempting not to do the upgrades. Frankly, cold houses in Spain mean you have a place to keep yourself cool during the summer. And I guess you can call it living in Spain pros and cons. So why did we end up doing all of this? Asturias has a lot of microclimates, so you can go to one place and it feels like summer, and then drive a few minutes and it feels like a different season altogether. I thought that Florida was wild because you could be on one side of the street and it'd be sunny, and then it'd be raining across the street while you're standing in that sunshine. But no, Asturias takes the cake. The microclimate that my house sits is quintessentially Asturias. Chilly, rainy, damp. In the winter, the walls were covered in tiers of humidity. This house was built with stone and masonry. The choice I had was to keep the home the same and use coal and gas heaters to keep the dampness away, to open my windows each morning, to let out the humidity, to wipe down the walls so that we could combat the mold. Or we could keep the water away from the house, and that's the one I choose, the latter. I don't regret getting a forcier system or a heat pump or tearing up the ground floor and installing an underground drainage system to move the water away from the house. Before, the water was climbing up the stone walls and every room felt like an icebox. And now every wall is insulated and the house stays at a steady temperature. All we have to do next is replace our roof. Our roof is gigantic because our caserío is attached to the barn. So we have to change this entire massive roof. Of all the cost of living comparisons, this one feels flipped to me, considering our old house, the roof change was much more affordable. We wanted to upgrade our roof to new tiles for efficiency, but we're not allowed to. The tiles we want to use are similar to the ones of San Miguel de Lillo, another building in King Ramiro I complex. It was commissioned as a royal chapel and it was built in the mid-800s. I wish I could share the inside of this building, but photos and filming are not allowed. But from the outside, you can see the tile differences.
All right, this is San Miguel de Lillo. Here you can see the Roman tiles on the building. Excuse me, I take that back. These are Arabic tile. And then on this side of the building, these are Roman tile.
Using the old style tiles, combine that with the higher roof work prices in my area because of all the vacation homes we have here. It's going to take a while for us to save up so that we can replace our roof. But when that's done, we'll start renovating our second floor, the US third floor, all on our own. We're going to add in a full bathroom and a bedroom to the floor plan. Let's talk about the crazy idea that I mentioned. We have a massive barn that is actually approved to convert into a living space. Our house is spacious enough, so we don't need to expand what we have. We don't need any more. Here's the thing. When we came back to Asturias, our home was not move-in ready. There were no walls, there was no bathroom, there weren't even floors to walk on. When we arrived, we were spending about 100 euros a night to keep a roof over our heads. Remember, there were 3 of us and 3 pets. And then we met Don Miguel and Doña Ana. They offered us a home to stay in free of charge for as long as we needed it. All that they asked was that we pay for the power and the gas that we used and take care of their home like we had when we stayed with them for a week and paid. We ended up staying with them for 4 months. And without their kindness, we would have spent an additional 15,000 euros. They were angels who blessed us, and I want to find a way to pay their kindness forward. Like I said, we have a massive barn that is approved for conversion into a living space. We want to convert our space to help other people. We wouldn't use it as a vivienda vocacional. If you know of any organizations in Spain that organize that type of help, please tell me in the comments. I need to do a lot of research to make something like this happen, but I really want to do it. And if you're going to comment something about ocupas, don't worry. We're going to work on that as well. Furthermore, it's going to take a long time to get this moving because we have to replace our roof. The roof is the hard part. We're saving up for it. For the rest of it, I'm confident that I could partner with different brands to showcase their product and showcase them in the renovations that we do on this channel. I want to hear your thoughts on this idea in the comments, so I will see you there. And if you enjoyed this video, you can choose your next adventure. Whatever choice you make, I'll be sure to see you next Friday.